I just got back from the Australian premiere of Materialists. Going into this, I thought it was just going to be like a classic rom-com. Who does Dakota Johnson go for? Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal. But this was directed by Celine Song. If you've seen Past Lives, then you would know that she does not do cheesy, classic, boring, predictable rom-coms. There's three things that I loved about this movie the most, which was the acting, the storyline and the screenplay, and the cinematography. Dakota Johnson was incredible in this, but more importantly, the standout for me was actually Chris Evans. He was recently in headlines because he said that after Avengers Endgame, he's been choosing a lot of really bad roles or something along those lines. I think this movie is actually one of his best roles that he's done. Also, the actress who played the main client Dakota Johnson had and was trying to and struggling to find a match. She has a very minor role, but this actress did such a good job that I really hope after this film comes out, she can start booking a lot more roles because her acting was 10 out of 10. She has this one scene where she's crying and her chin is like trembling. In terms of the story itself, I'm going to make sure that this is as spoiler-free as possible. Dakota Johnson's character is a matchmaker. She sees the best and worst of the eligible bachelors and bachelorettes of New York City. She hears what people want, even if what they're saying is really, really bad. Yes, it did show us what it's like for a matchmaker and what that occupation looks like. It's not an industry movie like, for example, The Devil Wears Prada, where it's like very much focused on her job. Her job is a big part of this film, but she isn't her career. And the movie didn't need to stick with her career for the whole plot. The reason why she even met Pedro Pascal's character is because of her occupation. He is looking for love. She is a matchmaker. She spots that he's a unicorn and wants to recruit him as a potential client to help set him up with her existing clients, but he's not interested. He likes her. So they start going on dates. And what I really love is that when they do go on their very first date, we hear them having their chat, having their conversation, and the conversation continues, but suddenly they're in completely different outfits at a completely different restaurant. Time is passing by, but it just feels so natural and flowy. We hear Chris Evans say that he has a play coming up, but not for a while, a few weeks away. He's an aspiring actor. And then after these 3-4 dates, his play's coming up. Do you want, I've got a ticket for you. And I really, really loved that. Celine, oh my God, you've done it again. They allowed the actors to carry the scenes with their delivery rather than having to rely on the constant changing of camera angles. You'll notice this a few times, one of them being when Dakota Johnson meets Chris Evans' character for the first time outside in the parking lot while he is smoking a cigarette. When his character has a bit of silence, which is so natural, the cameras didn't feel the need to switch to Dakota's reaction, switch to a long shot, switch to this. It just stayed on him and it allowed it to just marinate for a little bit. This also occurred when Pedro Pascal and Dakota Johnson were having a conversation inside of a restaurant. You'll know it when you see it, but it's a mid shot while Dakota is on the left and Pedro is on the right. They are talking about whether or not they are a good match, and Dakota does the math on why she thinks that he is too good for her. And again, the camera does not move. For a really long time, we get to just sit there and watch them. It's like we are patrons at another table within the restaurant and we're just listening in on what they have to say and just checking in on them. It didn't need to go on a close-up to Pedro, go on a close-up to Dakota, show us the waiter walking around. It's just still. It's calm. We're present. And I loved that so much. That might come across as a red flag, it's too slow paced. Trust me, there is so much going on in this story. However, they do it in a way where it just feels so natural. This movie kicks off with a caveman and a cavewoman, and he is picking flowers, and she is working in the cave, and he proposes to her with a flower ring, and they are so in love. And then it's in New York and the movie really starts, but we got that first ever proposal in history of these two cave people. And you think to yourself, am I in the right film? Did I walk into the wrong movie? Is this crude live action? But later, much, much later in the film, it has a callback. And suddenly we're getting to witness the cave people again, but Dakota is actually narrating it, and she's questioning about what was the first marriage like and why did they choose each other. I think a lot of people who are in relationships and unsure on whether or not they're with their perfect person, this is going to hit hard for a lot of those people. I'm single and I've been single for my whole life, so I know when I rewatch this movie again in a few years once I'm in a relationship, I'm going to take away different things from this film. But I really, really enjoyed how we get introduced to these cave people, we witness the first ever proposal, and then now that we're in the future, we see the Met Museum and it says the first humans and it's a caveman on the photo, and it just, when I saw that, I wanted to scream. I was pointing to the screen. I was like, oh my God, like the cave people are here, the first humans. A lot of the topics and the jokes, they all get brought back up again, like perfectly. This movie is going to sit with me for a while, I already know. I think it was a 10 out of 10. And I would definitely recommend you watching this movie, but just know that it's not a cheesy, classic rom-com where you can just like turn your brain off and have a laugh. This is a deep, deep movie. And if you're going to ask someone to come and watch it with you who's recently fallen out of love or called off a wedding or something of the sort, it might be PTSD for them. Not that that happens in this movie, but this movie really addresses the topic of love and is marriage a sham and what's the point? She's a matchmaker, so she doesn't really deal with love. She deals with dating and ticking boxes. Is this person politically aligned with me? Do they have this salary? Are they this height? And it also addresses how marriage historically has been a business deal. It's been because two kingdoms are going to be brought together, or because somebody wants to get land or farm animals. Maybe she has a dowry. It's a legally binding thing where two families are coming together, and that gets addressed in this movie as well. You know, what's the point? What's the point of getting married if you're just gonna have a fight and get divorced and resent your kids and resent each other and argue over money? It addresses all of it so perfectly, and it brings it all the way back to those cave people. And do we think cave people got married because it was them ticking boxes about their demographics, about their age and height and occupation, and whether or not they came from the same economic background? No, they got married because they love each other. I think in this era of dating that we're in right now, in 2025 and beyond, we've kind of lost reality. We're way too focused on what star sign are they and do they have a degree or not, and it's just like, baby, what happened to love? What happened to marrying someone because you actually cared about them and not because they make sense and you're a good match? So yeah, this movie was brilliant. It opened up so many questions, and I really, really, really can't wait to see what everyone else has to say about it. And thank you to Sony Pictures Australia for inviting me to the Australian premiere. Now, I just came back from the Cannes Film Festival where I did see another Dakota Johnson romance film, which I will be doing a review of right here very, very soon. So hit subscribe if you haven't already. When I was at the Cannes Film Festival, I think I saw 12 or 14 movies in the span of like 2 days, and I'm still yet to do any of my reviews on here. I have posted some of them on Letterboxd already, but I will be doing them here as well. Hit subscribe, hit like, hit block, whatever you want to do. Thank you for the support.